Why do it seem like? Why do it seem like can't nobody handle the truth out here? With that real talk with Toy. You came big, you lying. You came big, you ain't telling the truth. You came big, you lying. You came big, you ain't telling the truth. I like that topic. I like that topic. What up, what up? Thanks for tuning in to Real Talk with Toy for another real topic. Let's get it.
All right, all right. Thanks for tuning in to Topics Real Talk with Toy. I have a special guest today to share with me part two. She was also on part one when we were talking about mental health for women during the COVID-19 pandemic that we are going through at this time. Um, this is my cousin Jocelyn, and I am so happy that you're joining me tonight.
And I'm happy to be here.
Oh, well, thank you. So, I kind of want to get right to it, and just kind of brief from the last one where we started. We also had another guest on. It was three of us, but in the first part, we were talking about uh, anxiety, depression, things that us as women go through all the time. And then on top of all that, we have this pandemic that is just not making it any better at all. Actually, it's made it, I'll say, about 95% worse than how things, were before, as just being women stressing all together. And so we ended part one by talking about, we started talking about survival. And so I just want to ask, when it comes down to me saying the word survival, what do you, what comes to mind for you, um, when I say the word survival during this pandemic?
Well, I feel that there's different levels of survival. Um, the first level I went through is basically trying to educate my kids in reference to how they need to carry themselves,
Okay.
um, you know, and conduct themselves during this pandemic. This is this was new to everyone. So this is something that when I get older, I can talk about, and when my kids get older, they can talk about because they went through it too. This is something new for all of us. Um, and as the younger folks, like my son, and they're not registering, what's really going on. So they was doing some of the same behaviors that they was doing when there was no pandemic, like dapping up friends and all that touching and all. When we can't at this time, we can't be touching each other like that because you know you could have it and not know you have it, type of deal. So, I was trying to educate my son about that, and it took a while. A couple of arguments. A couple of me yelling like I ain't got no sense. And,
Right.
so I had to yell, and because to me it was like it was common sense. It made it was normal. I could adjust quickly,
Right, right.
but for them it was a big adjustment. I just never knew something as small as a handshake could be difficult for the youngins.
Right,
I can't give my homeboy a handshake. No,
right.
why do you have to touch him anyway?
Absolutely.
But you know what I'm saying, that was a big adjustment.
Yeah.
So that was one level, and then um, when I was going into, when we did get to go to the grocery store, and you hear all on the news how they was letting these food processing places just do whatever they want to do, and and then you couldn't really get certain food unless you physically went into the grocery store.
Yeah.
You could order junk all day online,
Mm-hmm.
but if you wanted some nice vegetables, you couldn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
You can order now. They'll give you some vegetables. They're gonna give you the worst vegetables in the bunch. You know,
Right.
just because somebody else picked it, they don't care. They just pick up anything they pick. They probably pick up the stuff that don't nobody want
Okay,
and put it.
so I don't mean to cut you off, but I have to ask, like, are you speaking in terms of uh calling for other people to go pick your groceries up so
Okay,
you
so
don't have to leave the house, or
yeah, so what I was doing, I would either order my groceries where they come to my door,
okay.
or I would go do a curbside pickup.
Okay.
Um, and either one of those, when it came to vegetables and stuff like that, I was getting the bottom of the barrel. I don't know if I think it was intentionally because it happened too many times.
Right. Okay.
And so it was stuff like that where it say, okay, Jocelyn, what you need to be able to provide for yourself. You cannot keep, you can't let this happen again. So that's another survival mode. That's another level that I went to, and I started a garden,
Mm-hmm.
and I started growing my own vegetables, and that way, when I, when then it my garden, I will do it until I die.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that we should have been doing anyway. Um, I'm not saying, and I hope to God that another pandemic will never happen again.
Right.
But it doesn't even matter if it does or doesn't happen again. This is something that people need to do anyway.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah, you should have your own. You need to grow something, because if you had to stay, my whole state of mind was, if I had to be in my house for 30 days
Mm-hmm.
and I could not leave,
Mm-hmm.
and then I could not get no groceries, what would I do?
Right. Right.
And so that's when I speak of levels, that's when you go to different levels of survival mode.
Right.
First it was the garden for me, and then I got chickens, and then I got quails.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I started a whole little small little farm in my backyard.
Mm-hmm. And
Um,
it's nice. And I have to say, it's great. You did a good job. Seriously.
yeah, and I enjoy it. It's therapeutic too. It's
Mm-hmm.
very therapeutic, because, and that's important
Mm-hmm.
to survive.
Mm-hmm.
You got to mentally survive as well. And the gardening is therapeutic. When you're messing around with the dirt and you're squeezing the dirt on the plant, that's a therapeutic move. To
Mm-hmm.
it relaxes and it eases your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's like a breath of fresh air, and just to know that you're growing something yourself and you see it grow. And if you put some care into it, you can grow. Some people say, oh, I don't have a pink thumb, or they don't have a green thumb. First of all, there's no such thing as a green thumb.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is all about caring for what it is that you're doing.
Right. Right.
um so that's the type of survival mode that I went into. And now I got like a whole cycle of, if I if I had to shut in today, right now,
Mm-hmm.
it's some craziness going on in Washington right now.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if I had to shut down right now, retreat to
Mm-hmm.
my home,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would be okay. I would be fine. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
fine for 30 days. I
Wow.
probably could be fine longer than 30 days,
Mm-hmm.
but let's just say 30 days, I would be fine. I would be fine with food. I have weapons if I need it,
Mm-hmm.
and I have plenty to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That keeps me very busy.
Right.
On
Right.
top of work, I'm very busy. So
Right.
we have to do things to make sure that we can survive and stop depending on the world to provide for us. Like, oh, I can't get any vegetables unless I go to the store and get some.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get any meat unless I go to the store and get some. If I needed to go chop somebody's head off, and I don't mean to say it like that because it's
Mm-hmm.
not a vicious thing, you know what I'm saying? But if I needed to eat,
Mm-hmm.
I could go back there and get me a whole chicken that'll last me and my son for a day or two.
Right.
That-
Right.
That's 2 days of food.
Right. And
You know,
see, oh, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying versus going to the store and saying all this food because I really feel like a lot of that food that they
Mhm.
had at the beginning of the pandemic was very contaminated.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and they had people just like they have. You ever seen how they have these factory animals where they're super producing them and they have them just working overtime, and
I've heard of it.
that's how they was doing people
Mm.
and making them sick. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
Making them sick. That people be sick. They have to come to work dealing with your food, send your food out. It's contaminated with they germs and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, it's crazy. So my son keeps calling me,
Oh.
but yeah, it's crazy. And I keep declining, but he keeps calling back. um, yeah. So we have to just really get it together where we can survive on our own. Stop
Yes.
depending on these stores and other people
Mhm.
for your survival, for your life.
Right.
Take
And
ownership of your life.
absolutely. And see, and from my end, I do have, I mean, it's real, and I'm just going to admit that I am one of those who have been depending on stores and, things like that. See, so, how where you went and you started your own garden.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here I am one that started panicking due to the fact that, I had to go to the store, make purchases from there. You are absolutely correct. That was the germiest of the germest. It was like it's horrible. It's even not good now. And I find myself having to go to the store, just like a lot of other people, half the world, I'm quite sure, go to the store and they depend on the things that the store may have for, sale or whatever, and that's just how we survive. And if they're out, we don't get it. So, and that's not a good thing. And so to me, where I think of survival, I think of, let me run to the store real quick. I gotta stock up. Gotta stock up on all this food. I gotta stock up on all this, toilet paper. I gotta stock up on um, paper towels, soap, just everything that a person normally goes to get roughly every 2 weeks or whatever for their home. I was finding myself um, getting enough to last just in case there was nothing I can do for a whole month and some. And that's just how I had to do things. It was
Yeah,
just
a lot of
totally
people are doing
different.
that. Yeah, a lot of people was doing that. They was,
Yeah.
they had the toilet tissue thing that was going on. I mean, I still don't understand that one to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Why you felt like you need so much toilet tissue. Don't make me tell you how you can survive without having no toilet tissue.
Well, you know what? Yeah, that's what people need to hear. I'm sure it's a lot of people that's
My
gonna see
thing
this
is,
video and they're gonna wonder, well, how else could I survive without toilet paper or
I
paper
mean,
towel?
me, like saying me, I like a lot. I have a lot of clothes. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I have a lot of clothes. I
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of clothes that I could just throw away if I needed to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If I tell you right now, if I ran out of toilet tissue, all these doggone clothes I got, they it'll have to turn. I cut me some toilet tissue out every day. I mean, if that's what I had to do,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I probably got enough clothes in here to last for a year of making toilet tissue.
Right.
That's or longer. So
Right.
I have a whole room dedicated to clothes. So
Right.
and that ain't even it. That
Right.
ain't even so. It's other. You have to. That's the thing. You have to think outside of the box because you never know when you might get to a point where you have to survive like that.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know what? Let me tell you something. Sometimes I cook my dinner outside.
Mm. Like on the grill?
Yeah, I have like a little gas grill, and then I
Oh.
have like two portable electric eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So the last thing I cooked out there, and I think I posted it on my page. I cooked a big cowboy steak and
Mm-hmm.
some lamb chops, and then I made mashed potatoes, like homemade mashed potatoes. So I cooked the lamb chops and the steak on the gas grill, a little small gas grill, and then I cooked the mashed potatoes on the little small, I just boiled the potatoes or whatever. But I did that because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
What if all your electricity goes out? What if it gets that bad where the electricity goes out? Because you can't rule out anything right
No,
now. Do you
no,
see what's happening on the Capitol right now? Do you see this pandemic, what we went through, and how careless this president did us? No, there is nothing that cannot happen anymore. So nothing
right,
that I should say should sound bizarre. It should
right.
be like intriguing to you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. People need
So
to pay attention. Yeah. Open their
yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have my little gas grill that I can, cook on. If I didn't have any electricity, what I'm saying, I could cook on that. Um, I even, it's a lot of little things around. Everything has its purpose. A lot of the little things that's around that I already have in mind.
Mhm.
Um, if I had to survive like that.
Yeah.
That's how you have to think. You have to walk around your house,
Hmm.
think about things. Well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And will I be prepared for it? What do I have here that prepares me for it?
Hmm.
Those things there, if you're not asking yourself this question, you're walking around like, oh, hope it don't happen. You know, you're gonna, let me tell you something. Just like people, they have birds in their house, like the little birds in the nice little cages.
Right.
You could have quails in that bird cage. They're
Hmm.
birds too, but
Right.
you can actually eat them. You can't eat your parakeet.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, you could if you had to, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. I've never heard of anybody eating a parakeet, but
Right.
quails, they sell them in the grocery store.
See.
The
And
quail eggs, they sell them in the grocery store, but you got your own.
right, right. And see, and that's the thing because everybody thinks so different. Everybody thinks so different. The only thing that I'm really concerned about when it comes down to us as women, staying on the topic, us as women,
Mm-hmm.
um, and our mental health with everything, I'm concerned about people be acting nonchalant. Women that are acting nonchalant about the situation. Are they acting nonchalant because, which could mean a lot of things? Are they one that stresses to the max, so it's best for them to act nonchalant? Are they one that is just dumb to the fact? I mean, I'm just keeping it real because there's a lot of people that turn a blind eye to certain situations that needs that second eye. You know what I mean? Um, and or are they, acting nonchalant because they're in denial about what's really going on out here? And there are so many concerns in regards to that because we are the ones that have children
Mm-hmm.
and possibly grandchildren. We stress, to me, my opinion, and I might be wrong, correct me if I am. Um, we are the ones we stress more than men do. And we stress a lot harder than men do.
Mm-hmm.
Women, most women, I'll say about 85% of women,
Mm-hmm.
um, are caregivers to the whole family. And when I say family, I mean inside of their own home. And that's 85% because you have that other 30% roughly,
Mm-hmm.
35% roughly, that is just, it is what it is. They don't care. Hey, living day by day, which that's, what we need, what we're doing, but, they don't think further down the line of things that may happen, that could happen. This is what we need to do. This is how we need to. I think more families need to come up with more game plans
Yep, that's
than
true.
what they are,
That's
especially
true.
when you have kids.
Well, I think a lot of that stems from what another thing that this pandemic has showed us as individuals is how we raised ourselves.
Yes.
It is very important. See, it probably wasn't thought about that
Uh-huh.
how important it is on how you raised yourself. And when I
Right.
say
Uh-huh.
raise yourself, I
Mm-hmm.
mean once you left your mother's home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now you're making your own decisions in life. You're doing, you're doing everything that you need to do to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you know it or not, you was in survival mode then.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all about how you handle it. What
Absolutely.
did you do? How did you handle your situation? How did you handle your household? How did you handle your bills? How did you handle your decision making? All of that played effect in this pandemic right here. You how did you raise yourself for this pandemic?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you have to be a certain person generally
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in order to be able to process what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you say some women was acting like, it wasn't happening. They was just nonchalant. That some people don't know how to deal. So it's more easier for them to act like ain't nothing going on
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know how to deal with the pressure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But and I think we all, I don't care how strong you was put to the test.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
on this, but it's see, one thing I've always learned
Mm-hmm.
is you got to turn everything in life into a lesson, or what can you get from this?
Mm-hmm.
What can I learn from this? What do I need to do?
Mm-hmm.
Start asking yourself some questions instead
Mm-hmm.
of sitting there ignoring it. um there's people that have uh issues within their household
Mm-hmm.
that they need to address.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is a time where God has set everybody down and say, I need for you to handle this.
That's
You
right.
know, during this time is it's a lot of people that try so hard
Yes.
to brush it off, don't pay it attention, not deal with it.
Yep. Right.
No, you got to deal with it.
That's
They
right.
had to deal with it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it. I'm not going to name any names or people, or if it was a friend, or it doesn't matter. I've seen it. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen people uh have to deal with their demons. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen a lot of that. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of women, men, it doesn't matter who you are. We
Mm-hmm.
all had to deal with our demons.
Yes.
So it depends on how many demons you had in your closet, on how hard it is for you to get through this pandemic.
And you know what? And you're absolutely right. And that right there answers a lot of when you say demons. Um, that is a part of the reason why people are saying 2020 was the year of exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, people had to deal with themselves. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was just the year of exposure. And I will tell you, 2020 is one of the years that I will never forget, ever. When I tell
Yeah.
you,
I don't think anybody will.
I'm telling you, because it was horrible. And I mean from beginning to the end.
But
Uh,
it was really it was a great horrible. And that sounds crazy a little bit. But let me tell
not
you why.
really, but
For some people it was a great horrible. For some people it was a horrible horrible.
mhm.
Um, but I feel like somewhere, um, in some people, was at some time in your life you were supposed to be preparing for this, and you didn't even know you were preparing for it.
Right.
If you look back on some of the things that you went through, it is it was to prepare you for this moment,
Mhm.
for these days.
Mhm.
But if you spent more time in your bull,
Mhm.
then that's why it was harder for you in this pandemic.
Right.
But
And
if you can find the if you can see like a giraffe instead of a turtle in
mhm.
this situation, then
Mhm.
you'll be all right.
Right.
Because you got to see like a giraffe in order to get through this pandemic. You cannot see
Exactly.
like a turtle. Um,
Exactly. What are some of the things before we kind of cut it short here? And I hate the fact that every time we start getting in good with conversation, we gotta always cut it short. But I do want to ask you, um, and I can speak first to get my part over with as far as how I feel about how do you feel about like what's some advice that you could give people to help them stay safe during this tragic time that we're dealing with right now. And when I say stay safe, I mean within their home, thinking about their household, thinking about their surroundings, most of all thinking about their children, because I find it hard. I'm gonna keep it brief here. I find it hard um, to watch parents, bring their kids into the grocery store They have a mask on, but the kids don't have a mask on. I find it very disturbing for that. I find it disturbing that you have the wife or the girlfriend at home, and all of a sudden, you got the husband or you know, the boyfriend or whatever, he on the street, running the streets, doing his own thing, and not thinking about, I could catch COVID and bring it home. I can bring it home to my whole family. They're not thinking about that. Um, the women, there's a lot of women out here that are still in the hard beliefs of the situation, so they still want to party. They still want to go on trips. They still want to have this significant amount of fun and things like that, not thinking, hey, I could bring this home to my kids or my husband. Is just not fair. It's not. And people mentally already think that um, you have to show huge symptoms, the coughing, you have to sound like you have a cold, you have to be to where you can't hardly breathe. That's not true at all. That's not true at all. But yet they're scared to go get a COVID test because they don't want to hear results, or they know anytime you're scared to go get a COVID test done, not the fact that you don't want to, but that you're scared to go get it done. It's 9 times out of 10 due to the fact that you've been out here careless and you don't care. And you don't want to get it because you don't care to hear the fact that you have COVID. You don't want to live that day by day stress, not knowing if it's going to get worse or if it's going to get better. People would just rather go through and make it just do what it do, and it is what it is. If you catch it, you catch it. If you don't, you don't. And that's just not fair. There's so many people out here in this world that has passed away literally from this pandemic that is just horrible. And sometimes it don't really pay off until it actually hits home. It has to hit home in order for it to pay off. Or not pay off, but in order for it to actually be acknowledged that this is real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sad. I don't see you at all.
Okay.
Um,
Give me a
oh,
second. All my lights went out in my room, and I don't know why.
oh, wow.
So I was sitting here trying to figure out what in the world
Oh,
did
wow.
I do. But
Oh, okay.
we luckily we're at the end. So
Yes, we are. We are absolutely. So I just kind of wanted to touch base on that as far as the advice that we could give. The only advice that I can give is to have a game plan with your family. Talk to your husband or boyfriend. Boyfriends, talk to your wife or your girlfriends and the kids most of all, and express to each other how you feel about the whole situation, and things that you don't want to happen, because it's a true fact, one person can affect over 1,000 people. That's real. And the kids aren't even in school right now, so it's not fair for a child to have to suffer for something that they have no idea really what the whole pandemic is about. You know what I mean? It's just not okay. So I'm just hoping that everyone wakes up and realizes that this whole pandemic is real. Just go to the store if you got to go to the store. Um, Oh wow, something must have went wrong. I don't know what happened. But let me finish this off and then I'm gonna go ahead and end it. If you have to, go ahead and go to the store, get the things that you need to get, do the things that you need to do, and come on out. That's all you have to do. Just that simple. When you get home, wash all of your items. I know it's extra, but it's best. Wash all of your items with hot water and then wipe them down. That's another good thing you can do. Um, Make sure you keep your hands washed when you go to work, come home, get yourself together that way. Go ahead and possibly jump in the shower, get the germs off your body, things like that. It's just so much we need to do, guys. And I really, really need everybody to pay attention to that. It's real out here, okay? And it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's a great thing to me that we do have Biden in there. I do want to quickly say this. We do have Biden in chair. So that's a great thing. And I will say this. I need everybody to understand that he cannot fix things overnight. He cannot. It's not going to work. Um, he's not going to be able to get anything together overnight. It's going to take a while, okay? It's going to take a long while, guys. Um, we are going to, unfortunately, possibly reap the mess for about a year and some, that Trump has made for all of us. We are going to reap that. So there's no need of blaming anything on Biden, okay? At least not for these first 2 years. We really need to use our head and do what's best and mainly take care of you and your family, all right? So I'm going to leave it right there. And just like I say in every single video we have out there, and I do want to apologize, first of all. I don't know what happened. And time is up here. So I do want to say in every single video that I have out there, I always say, keep God first. Keep God first.